All right, hello and welcome back. Here we are working away on this loft thing that we just put together. This is a loft that we solidified using Thicken if you watched the last video. And in the last video I was talking a little bit about cleaning this thing up using some guide curves because we haven't done that yet. And the thing that I'm really concerned about is this area right here. You can see that this loft has created somewhat of an odd surface where, like, if we follow these white and black lines down here, once they get to about here they kind of sharply dip down and straighten out. I don't really like that. I want to have more control over this surface, and I really want to have a different scenario than this because this was created by the loft and not by myself, and I want to have control over every single twist and turn that this surface makes. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of delete a lot of the work we just did in our past video and take this thicken off, and you can see that our surface bodies goes back. The surface knit, I'm going to unknit the surfaces by deleting the surface knit from our design tree. I'm going to go ahead and just, turn zebra stripes off right here. Okay, there we go. And I'm also going to delete these planes that I created as well. Let's see here, perfect. That was the planar surface that I just deleted off the top and bottom. Okay, and now I'm getting right back to kind of where we started out with this model. And let's just take a look. Let's go back to our surface and let's just edit the feature. There we go. And so let's kind of try to understand what's going on with this surface and why are we getting that weird sort of hiccup in the zebra stripes that we're looking at. And the reason is because, well, it has to do with this control arm here. See, control arms, whenever they flow from one profile curve to another, they're always going to be looking for a point on the two profile curves to attach themselves to. Okay, so if I just clear that selection and take a look at these two, you can see that down here I used the center point slot, and that has really clearly these points right at all four corners, but the circle doesn't have any points to attach to. Okay, so each one of these points will be like kind of like a pinch point for the surface. And so what's going on is the loft is creating kind of a sharp edge between where this circle flows into this straight line, but up here on the circle there's no sharp edge, and so there's a little bit of a divot that's starting here and then flowing up to the circle and then disappearing as it gets to the circle. And that's why we're getting that little hiccup in the zebra stripes. Okay, so one way to kind of alleviate that would be to add a guide curve that goes from a point on this lower profile sketch up to a point that'll be on this upper profile sketch. So I just want to right click on this guy and see if I would be lucky enough to get a center point, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So let's try to add our own. Okay, I'm going to try this a couple of different ways. I want to just go ahead and, oh sorry, I'm still inside my surface loft. Whoopsie. Let's exit out of that. And let's just delete this loft really quick. Like I said, we're going to be taking this whole thing apart. I want to go back to the original profile sketch, and I'm just going to add a center line that's going to go like this. There we go. 1 and 2. There we go. Exit. Perfect. Okay, good. There we go. And on this one, I'm going to edit this sketch and right click on it and see if I can find select midpoint. Let's try that. There she is right there. Okay, good. Well, there she is. Okay, if it doesn't want to let you select a midpoint, we can just go ahead and add a construction curve. That's going to go from the center. If you just hover over the center of that, there's one. There we go. And we're just going to snap it over here. Okay, so we're adding construction curvature to our sketches in order to have a good place for our control handles to land. Okay, so now we have these two construction lines on each one of our sketches. So let's run the loft again and see if we can get that control arm to go straight from here down to here, and we'll see what difference that makes. All right, so I'm going to go to surfaces, lofted surface, click right on that point, and then go to this point. All right, perfect. Okay, good. So let's see if we can get that sucker to attach itself to that, and let's see if we can get it to go to here. It really doesn't want to. Oh boy, come on, do what I want you to do. Okay, well, what a bummer. It'll attach up here, but not down there, huh? All right, perfect. Well, so let's do it this way then. All right, let's just give it another try. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit this sketch right like that. I'm going to go to trim entities and just trim this off. That's fine. All right, and then we're going to mirror across. You guys all remember mirror entities from our very first class. We're going to mirror this like this, and we're going to mirror about this center line that we added. Okay, good. All right, perfect. Let's run the loft again now that we've made that mirror, and we're going to go from up here to down here. There we go. And this poor scenario here, this thing really just does not want to play along with us. What a frustrating scenario. Oh my God. All right. Well, let's try to think about what we can do. Well, we can hold on while I think. Thank you. There we go. Let me just edit this bottom sketch again. And you know what? Let's do this. Let's just chop the whole thing in half, and we'll just mirror half of it one at a time. How's that sound? All right. There we go. Let's go up here to this sketch, and we'll edit that sketch, and we'll trim this sketch. Right, like that. Perfect. All right, cool. Let's try it this way. Surfaces, exit sketch, lofted surface. We'll go 1, 2. There we go. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we are creating a symmetrical object here, and so many times when you're creating something symmetrical, like a car or like an iron or a lot of stuff that's symmetrical, it's best to just build half of it. And this is why, because you want to be going from midpoint to midpoint. And now what you can see is you've got this control arm is going from the center of the circle there down to the center of that slot tool, and we're getting a really clean model right here, okay? You can see that we've got, if we look at it from the top view, I'm going to hit orientation. We've got a symmetrical wireframe that's running across our entire surface. We don't have that hiccup any longer, all right? And so we're really happy with that. Really clean surface going on here, okay? So let's go ahead and mirror this thing over. So let's just go to mirror. Features to mirror, bodies to mirror. Let's do a surface body mirror, okay? We've got one single surface body here. So let's just mirror that. And you're going to notice something when we do mirror now. We've got knit surfaces that pops up. And this is exactly what it is for when you're mirroring surfaces together. Let's knit them together, all right? Fantastic. There we go. All right. So now we've got a really clean model going. Let's take evaluate and turn on our zebra stripes and see what we've got here. Really feeling good about this. You can see here that we've still got a little bit of a hiccup, but I think it's a lot less extreme. And also just looking at this model, this thing is really, really cleaned up. I think with that, now I'm starting to think twice about this area of the model here, and I'm starting to think, you know what it must be? It must be this kind of, this little kind of, there's a flatness to the loft that goes from here down to here, and the transition of this over to here, and then I think that's just what that's going to be. So probably the way to smooth that out is to be able to get a side profile curve that's going to arc from here to here, and we'll use that as a guide curve to kind of guide this loft, okay? So let's just do that. Let's just kind of backpedal through our model and get back to where we started. Surface loft, let's turn off zebra stripes. Let's get rid of this loft real quick. And you can start to see the way that surface modeling goes, right? You're going to go forward, you're going to go backwards, you're going to try stuff out, you're going to evaluate the surface that you're building, then you're going to make decisions about your design direction, about your design intent, and then you're going to go back and you're going to fix it, okay? So I'm just going to look at my available planes here. I'm going to create a plane on the right, or sorry, I'm going to create a sketch on the right plane, all right? And so I'm just going to look normal too. There we go. And I'm going to use a spline for this guy. I'm not going to actually click on the two surfaces, or sorry, the two sketches that I want to create a guide curve on. I'm just going to leave it kind of hanging out in space and then look at it in 3D. And the reason is because when I create a guide curve, I want to pierce the curve to the profile sketch, okay? I don't want to just throw it on there willy-nilly and use like a coincident relationship. It's not going to really do what I want. So I'm going to hold down Control with my pinky finger and then click on the profile curve, and I'm going to get my pierce command. We used pierce a little bit in our previous class, but pierce command attaches a curve to a profile curve, and it sometimes can be the difference between a valid profile curve and an invalid profile curve. So always keep your eyes peeled for that nice little pierce command, and we'll just pierce that to that. Okay. Click normal to again and click on this. Since it's a spline, when I click on it, I get these cool little handles, so I can make for a nice little adjust the curvature on this thing. I'm just going to set this to vertical, just like that. And with this one, I'm just going to play around with this handle a little bit and try to create like a curve that I like. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's nice, just like that. Fantastic. Okay, so let's run the loft again, see what we get. Lofted surface, top profile, bottom profile. Fantastic. You can see exactly what this control handle does. It recognizes that we've got two open endpoints and it snaps itself right to that. Now we're going to go down to guide curves and we're going to apply, where is it? There it is. Apply this curve as the guide curve, and you can see what that does. It pulls it right out. Okay. Now we're starting to get something really cool. Okay. That's looking really nice. So let's just go over here and look at our start and end constraints. I would just like to set these to normal to profile. There we go. And you can see that changes our surface quite a bit. Now you can play around with this a little bit if you want. There's these buttons here. And what that does is just that just changes the intensity of the surface and how it dives off your first profile curve. Okay. And so right now I've got it set to 0.5. Let's set it to 1/8 of a millimeter and see what we get. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's go down to our bottom one. Set that to 1/8 of a millimeter. There we go. All right. That's pretty good. Cool. Now, in the future, I can do a couple more things. If I don't like the way that Loft is adjusting the profile here, I can go ahead and add a second profile curve on the side of this, and then I can have control over that. For this purpose, I think I just want to approve this and take a look at the surface that we've made. There we go. Oh yeah, it's starting to look good. Let's go here and go to evaluate zebra stripes. All right, yeah. So as you can see, we're starting to alleviate that hiccup here. We're starting to get a nice smooth flow between this edge here and then how the surface comes across here. Yeah, there we go. It's not totally gone. There's still a little bit of a ripple in there, but we're starting to play around with it, you know. And you know what I would do at this point? I would probably take this sucker into 3D printing and 3D print out one and see how that feels in my hand. See how that little kind of divot feels. Maybe it feels fantastic. You know, I'm going to use my eyeballs while I'm here in the computer to try to evaluate that surface and try to get a feel for it visually. But yeah, we can sort of see it sticking out right there. Yeah, there we go. And it kind of looks like if we get in there and adjust the guide curve, we might get a better result. Let's just go here and I'm kind of feeling like that might help us a little. Just that little move. There we go. Something's happening. Something's happening. Very good. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, so at this point, this is good. You know, Loft has still made a lot of the decisions for us, and I'm not sure I'm in love with that idea. I kind of want to get in here and add a profile curve on the side here that Loft can follow along with. So why don't we go ahead and just do that? Let's delete the Loft. Okay, we'll go to our right plane. We're going to put a spline in, 1, 2. We're going to look normal to that spline. And I also want to add in a center line, because if I'm going to add a profile curve to one side, I'm probably going to want to add it to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to pierce it to this profile sketch up here. Notice when I do this pierce command, I don't click on the point, because that's a point. I want to snap this profile curve to the sketch itself, not the point. These are two different things. This is a sketch, that's a point. Okay, if I go to try to snap the point to the point, all I get is a coincident relationship. I'm going to take this sketch and snap it to the sketch like that. There's pierce, it shows up. Okay, a lot of really tricky little things to keep your eyes peeled for. You got to kind of know what you're looking for and make sure it's going to pop up. There we go. There's 1, and here's 2. All right, there we go, like that. Fantastic. Let's just continue editing that sketch. Will look normal too. Now we have full control over what this is going to look like. Okay, we can kind of play around with this if we want it to be, you know, horizontal like that and be a nice smooth, or we can kind of adjust this any way we want. We can now have full control. We can really design what this surface is going to be. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a horizontal onto that, and then I think I'm going to add a new point. Insert spline point. If you right click on a spline that you've drawn, you get a whole bunch of spline options that'll pop up sometime, and insert spline point is one of them. Right, insert spline point. There we go. You can just add a new point to your sketch, and that'll give you the option to kind of get a little bit more detail in there. There we go. Here we are in surface modeling, right? It's all about the curves. There we go. Perfect. Just like that. All right. Wonderful. Now let's take that and let's mirror that across. 1, mirror about, 2. Voila. There we go. Exit out of that sketch. Now we're really starting to get somewhere. Let's see what we've got. I want to go back in and just edit this. Just as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I think I want to go like this. There we go. I'm going to tuck it in a little bit. There we go. I'm just making this up as I go along. You're going to do this yourself, and I want you to play around with it until you like it as well. Okay? Let's go ahead and run the loft now and see what we get. Lofted surface, profiles. We'll go 1 and 2. There she is. Guide curves. It's going to be 1. This is going to pop up on you as well. This is your selection manager. And what this is telling us is that we have multiple sketch entities inside a single sketch. And SolidWorks is just asking us, hey, do you want to select just a portion of the sketch entities in this sketch? And you're going to go yes. Okay. There's other options in here like selecting closed loops and selecting groups of stuff. For now, since we have a pretty easy scenario going, we're just going to go there. Okay. And we're just going to add all of these curves that we've drawn to the guide curve command. There we go. Voila. Fantastic. There we go. All right, that's good to go. And let's just go ahead and approve that. All right, now we're really starting to get a very kind of organic form here. Let's take a look at this guy. Let's turn on our evaluation thing. Yeah, there we go. Nice, smooth zebra stripes across the whole thing. This thing's starting to get really pillowy, and you know, you still see a change in direction right here, but it's a lot smoother, you know, and it seems like it's going to be a lot more comfortable in the hand. I don't even know what I'm making, by the way. I'm just trying to show you guys loft and guide curves, but I'm you know, giving you a little insight into the design process and how it's going to go. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's mirror it and solidify it really fast. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. Knit. Yep. Patch with surface body, planar surface. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, grab it. Grab it. There you go. Planar surface, good to go. Grab them all. Knit surface. Try to form solid. Boom. Ah, zero selected right there. There we go. All right, solid model. That was the quick and dirty, super fast way. Okay. Alrighty then, so we've made a really cool organic shape using Loft. These surfaces are traveling in all different directions. Who knows what it is, but who cares really? We're just playing around with this stuff right now. We're trying to have fun. This is fun in SolidWorks. So try this out yourself. Play around with it a little bit. Okay, turn my edges back on here. Okay, and try to understand what we've done here. We've been using surface evaluation to get a really clear idea of what kind of surfaces we're making and what our surface is doing, because it's a little tricky, you know, with this turned off. You know, you can also turn on real view graphics here. This is going to make your computer run a lot slower. You can see right away my computer starts to freeze up. But Real View Graphics will apply a shader and a lighting environment to your work area. Here you go. You can see that. And that gives you a bunch more highlights and shadows that you can use to, you know, shade and stream over your model to kind of get a better idea of what it looks like. There you go. This is for like when your boss walks up behind you at work and says, "What are you working on?" You turn this on really quick and it looks really fancy and flashy. Little does he or she know that your entire workspace is now grinding to a halt as your computer is just hurting over this maneuver. So we'll turn that off. Anyway, surface evaluation to determine our design intent and our design direction, and then using guide curves with lofted surface to create the form that we like best. All right? Okay, we're going to shut that long video down right now because we are just rambling on. But in the next video, we're going to continue to take this thing apart and continue to get it more and more complicated. Okay? All right, thanks for watching.